Everybody to tonight's living room lecture, all you need to know about enrolment. Firstly, apologies for the slightly late start. We just had a few technical issues, but we've solved that now. My name's Meryl and I'm producing the webinar tonight. And with me is Nikki, our Head of Student Administration, and Billy, our Enrolment Manager. And they will be talking you through the whole enrolment process. And then in two sections throughout the webinar, we're going to stop and take some of your questions, and we will endeavour to answer as many questions as we possibly can. But just to make you aware that we do need to wrap up at 6:30, so we may not get through all of them. So let's start the webinar. Thank you, Nikki and Billy.
Thanks, Meryl. Hi, yes, it's Nikki Harford here, and we're going to take you through a few slides and really explain the process of enrolment to you. So during this webinar, we're hoping to cover quite a bit. We're going to first look at pre-enrollment and what that involves, and then take some time to explain what face-to-face enrolment is and what you need to do, what you need to bring, etc., where it happens. And then after that, we're going to explain a little bit about some resources you can look at to really help you on your new student journey. So just to start off with, enrolment is a two-stage process. As I've said, it incorporates pre-enrollment. That's an online process where we ask you to check your personal details and provide information and upload documents. We really encourage you to complete that before you arrive. So that means that your face-to-face enrolment is smooth. The second part of enrolment, really important, is for you to attend one of our face-to-face enrolment sessions. That's an in-person enrolment session where we check your ID, resolve anything that's outstanding, any tasks you haven't quite managed to complete, and it's a chance to receive your student card. All of this takes place at our Waterside campus in Northampton. So I'm going to take a little bit of time just to unpack what pre-enrolment is and really explain some of the screens that you're going to see as you pre-enroll. So as we said in a bit more detail, pre-enrolment requires you to confirm your personal details, enter your address information, confirm the last education institution that you attended, upload any photographic ID, so that's passport or driving license according to your student status, confirm how you're going to pay your fees, that's really important, and also chance to upload a passport style photo. This will be used for your student ID card. And finally, there's an opportunity for you to read our terms and conditions of being a student at the university and for you to agree to them. So pre-enrolment, we're going to invite you, or we may have invited you already to pre-enroll, and some of you may have done that already, but pre-enrollment opened on the 24th of August, and we send out an enrolment email explaining how you activate your pre-enrollment. And that email gives information about the face-to-face enrolment sessions. Please don't go onto our website and try and pre-enroll before you receive that email. That's really important. You need to wait for your pre-enrollment. I think it's called Time to Enroll. Look out for that, and it will take you through a step-by-step process of how you activate your pre-enrollment. On the screen there's some key contact details. If you're having problems or you haven't received your email and it gets closer to the start of the year, then please do contact us on that email address, enrolment@northampton.ac.uk. It's probably better to email us at this stage just because the phone lines are really busy. So we will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible if you're having problems with that. And those students that have come through very late, so might have just applied, we will still be processing your offer and taking you through the applicant journey. So it might be that you're not quite ready for pre-enrolment, but as soon as your status is at the right stage, we will send out that pre-enrolment email. So I'm now going to take time just to go through a few screens so that you can actually see what pre-enrolment looks like. You can access the pre-enrolment website from the pre-enrolment email that we send you. And first of all, you'll see this login screen that says welcome to pre-enrolment, and you just click login. and you just enter some details. So you need to use the email address that you've been using with us throughout your application process. And the password, you'll obtain the password when you follow the instructions to activate. So you'll click on a link, put in your email address, click the activate button, and that will allow an email to come out to you with a password. And then you just pop that password into the password box. You'll then click on something called Review My Status, which again is another button that should appear once you've logged in. Then you'll look out on the next screen for Pre-enrollment, which is circled there on your screen, and you will select the correct program that we have your application attached to, and it will ask you to agree that that's the one you want to pre-enroll on, and you click OK on the pop-up box. The next set of information has already been provided, and all you're doing now is just checking through that we have the right information for you. So there's personal details that cover things like your surname, your forename, your date of birth, and what we want you to do is just to check that that information is correct, and also check that your student status is correct. If there's any boxes that are greyed out for any reason, that is information that is locked, so you're not able to change it without us being involved. So if that is the case and they're greyed out boxes, just drop us an email and we can help you with that. Alternatively, you can wait till you get to face-to-face enrolment, and when you sit down with somebody to do your ID check, we can change it in person then. Now, it's really important that we have the most up-to-date address for you. So there are two addresses that we capture initially. The first one is your permanent address. This is the address when you're not studying with us. So it's your home address where you've come from. And it's really important that we do have that address on our system. So do check that through or add it in if you need to. And the term time address is the address where you are living when you're studying with us. Now, some of you might not know your term time address at this point. So if you could fill that in as best you can, again, when you come to face-to-face enrolment, there will be an opportunity to change your term time address, but it's really important that you do complete as much as you can. And also to complete an email address and a mobile phone number for you. I'll just go back to that screen. Sometimes people miss the term time address. As you can see on your screen at the moment, we've circled that there. Do click on the blue writing, and that will then allow another address tab to pop up. So please do make sure you fill out the permanent address and the term time address. Now, we really want to make sure that we have a next of kin, or what we call an emergency contact or a trusted contact for you. And the reason for that is if there was any emergency that we needed to contact somebody to tell them that that perhaps something had happened to you and we needed to let your family or next of kin know, then it's really important that we have the most up-to-date detail on our system. And we will, again, check that with you when you come to face-to-face enrolment. But for now, just fill in the screen. So that's a contact name, a relationship, and we do allow you, if you don't want to share the relationship with us, you can say prefer not to say. But if you do want to share the relationship with us, then you can just type that in for us. Then is another address box, just like you filled in for the other two, the permanent and term time. And most importantly, the telephone number. We then ask you to provide us with just your last institution. So we're not needing to see all of your education history. We just need the very last place that you studied. We have to provide that information to the government. The government collects some very important details, and this is one of them. So the way that you can do that, if you studied in the UK before, you can use our search box and just type in a few letters. For example, if you studied at Bedford College, you could just type in BED, and it will give you all the institutions that start with those three letters. If it's not an institution that you can find, or if it's an overseas institution, then you can select other from the drop-down window, and it will then allow you to type in the name of the institution and the address. If you could just also complete the start and end dates of when you studied, that's very helpful. And then click add institution. You'll see there's a red ring around the add institution button. Sometimes people miss that. So just look out for that. Click add institution and the details will appear in the box below. And then click next and save. Again, we have to collect a bit more information for the government about whether your family have attended higher education before. So there's a question around that. And then for UK students only, so not international students, so UK students only, we are asked to gather whether you have actually been in care before. So that's if you have been in a care situation. If you're an international student, please just select not a care leaver. And finally, for our health and education students, there's an additional question around occupational health checks and disclosing and barring service. That's DBS and the check that you need in order to come onto the course. Then we're on to the next screens that ask you around supporting documentation, and we ask you to upload a copy of your photographic ID. This is really helpful to allow us to ensure that we have that documentation scanned in. We do ask you to bring that as well to face-to-face enrolment so we see the original, but it allows us to have that version of your ID on our system so that we can use it for verification purposes. So in order to upload a scan of your passport, all you need to do is follow the instructions, select the correct document type, so that's ID or identification, choose the file that you want to upload, then upload it and click the upload and next and save, and that should all appear for you. As we said at the beginning, you have the opportunity to provide us with a photo for your ID card if you wish to. What you need to do is provide us with a passport style photo. We're just looking for head and shoulders. You can wear your glasses and you can smile. So we're not a passport office. You can do those two things. So again, all you need to do is browse, look for the photo that you've scanned into your device and upload. It does give you the opportunity to adjust the photo if you wish to. And we do ask you to make sure there's not anything in the background that would be distracting from the photo. So do make sure that it's a head and shoulders photo of yourself. If for whatever reason that photo hasn't uploaded, we will be able to take another photo for you at face-to-face enrolment. So there's only a couple more screens to go. So we do ask you to confirm how you're paying your fees, and there are quite a lot of options because we have various funding streams. And if you're a self-fee payer, there's a number of options there too. So look down the list and find the most appropriate one for you. And click next and save. And finally, we ask you to sign up to our terms and conditions. There is a link there for you to link out to the terms and conditions. And we also explain that you will be becoming part of the Students' Union. If you do wish to opt out of the Students' Union, again, you can do that by going to the Students' Union website. If you're happy, then click next and save, confirm your enrolment and submit it. And then that's the pre-enrollment completed and you can log off. Now, I think we're going to pause there, Meryl, to see if there are any questions around pre-enrolment at this stage.
Yes, we do. We do have a few. So first one I've got is, do I still have to enroll even if I've accepted the course on UCAS?
Yes, it's a different process. So UCAS, the process you've been undertaking with UCAS is very much around your application. And UCAS take it so far so that you've had the offer, we've confirmed the offer, but what this is about you becoming a student of the university. So yes, we definitely need you to pre-enroll and to attend face-to-face enrolment.
Cool, thank you. Right, next question. Can I still change my photo ID upload?
So once you've uploaded and you've actually submitted pre-enrolment, then pre-enrollment is completed, and we can't go back into it, and neither can you. So what we will say is bring your photo with you, photographic ID with you. If we need to scan it in and upload it again, we will do. We will make the necessary checks at face-to-face enrolment. So please don't worry if you've uploaded something that is out of date at the moment or has expired and you've got a new one. We will deal with that at face-to-face enrolment.
And another one that's very similar but worth just recapping: is it possible to change details in the pre-enrollment after it's been submitted, or do I just have to change it at the face-to-face?
Yes, so again, we run through a bit of a summary of what you filled out at pre-enrollment, not every question, but the key information that we need to capture from you. So we will double check it with you just in case things may have changed in the 3 weeks leading up to the start of term. Please don't worry if you've put something that isn't quite accurate now. We will double check everything that we need to check with you.
Thank you. Is the process the same for postgraduate students?
Yes, exactly the same for postgraduate research, people doing a standalone module. Pre-enrollment is exactly the same.
Another one here: I completed the pre-enrollment, but I wasn't able to upload the copy of my passport or a photo for my student ID. What do I do?
As I said, the best thing to do is when we get to face-to-face enrolment, you can mention that to a member of staff. They will double check whether we actually will need to continue with getting any uploads from you. It's very much depending on your student status. So just make sure you bring that original document with you and we can deal with it at face-to-face enrolment.
Thank you. Just double checking, see if there's any relevant. There is a question here that somebody's asking: my student finance isn't approved yet. Can I still pre-enroll?
Yes, absolutely. So the fee questions is about your intention, how you intend to pay your fees. So if you're intending to pay for a loan, there are a couple of options there. I think one says I've actually had my loan processed. The other one says that's pending. So just choose the right option that relates to your funding, but it's absolutely fine for you to pre-enroll. It just gives finance the indication whether you're going to be funded or whether you're self-paying. So please go ahead and pre-enroll even if it hasn't been completed yet.
And just lastly, we've got another one that's just referring to them having a visa issue, and they're just querying what their next steps should be, or do they go ahead with the pre-enrollment?
Thank you. Yes, still go ahead with your pre-enrollment. The best people to speak to on your visas is either the international admissions team or our international student support team, and you can find that information on our website. But yes, please go ahead. Even if you've been sent the pre-enrollment email, we're expecting you to enroll. So the visa issue can be resolved alongside you pre-enrolling.
Lovely. That's all the questions for now. Thank you, Nikki.
Great. So I'm going to hand over to Billy. Billy's going to take us through the face-to-face enrolment slides. So I hand over to Billy.
Thanks a lot, Nikki. As Mel said, I'm Billy Mann, and I'm the Enrolment Manager at the University of Northampton. So the process of face-to-face enrolment is what makes you officially a student at the university. Unless told otherwise, all students, that's home and international, have to attend a face-to-face enrolment session. The dates and times for these enrolments can be found on the Welcome and Arrival page on the New Student webpage. So you do it next time you're on the university website, do just click the search bar and type in Welcome and Arrival and you'll find those dates. This will also contain a link for you to book your face-to-face enrolment slot. The next slide, please, Nikki. So certain courses enroll earlier in September, which means we'll have a few early enrollment sessions. As you can see, we did one yesterday and today, the PGCEs and the early childhood studies. But on Friday, on the 8th, we also have the occupational therapy students enrolling at 1. The next slide, please, Nikki. And then the following day, which is this Saturday, we have a BA in Learning and Teaching and Foundation Degree in Learning and Teaching have an enrolment session at 9:30. Finally, on the 11th, we have the MSc Physiotherapy students have an enrolment slot at 9:30. All of these enrolments will take place on the ground floor of the Learning Hub. So as you come into campus, it's the main building in the foyer, and you'll see us right there if you've been asked to attend one of these early enrolment sessions. So if you're part of a program that starts the week commencing the 25th of September, so that's between the 25th and the 29th, that means you have to enroll between the 13th and the 18th of September, please. Welcome and induction week will be between the 18th and the 22nd. So if you're moving into a halls of residence, you will need to have booked a slot to come in over the weekend to enroll. So that's the 16th and the 17th. You will have received an email containing a link to the accommodation booking portal. After you've booked your accommodation slot, if you could please book your enrolment slot half an hour before your accommodation slot. So if that enrolment slot isn't available, then just try and book the nearest enrolment slot to your accommodation slot. It's very, very important though that you come and enroll before you go to accommodation. So you can book your accommodation slot first, and then you'll be directed to book a enrolment slot half an hour before that. But unfortunately, accommodation won't be able to see you until you've enrolled. Non-halls students just need to book an enrolment slot for one of the days here on the screen. Next slide, please, Nikki. So, what actually happens at a face-to-face enrolment? Well, the first thing that we tend to do is check your record for any outstanding checks. This is why it's important to have your student ID number ready when you get to the front of the queue. If you have outstanding checks, you'll need to have sanctions resolved with admissions or finance on the day. So it's important that you have read and replied to any emails from them to make sure that there's none in your spam filter. So as long as you've replied to all those emails, let admissions and finance have all the information that they're asking for, then you won't have any checks and you'll be getting through your enrollment much quicker. If you're an international student, then we will also need to take a scan of your passport, your BRP card, which you can pick up from the post office, as well as your decision letter from the Home Office if you have one. If you don't have one, not to worry, still do come along, but it's very important that you remember your passport and your BRP card. After that, we'll be checking your ID and ensuring that the information that we have for you on record is still correct. That's the information that you would have uploaded during your pre-enrollment. Once we've made sure this is correct, we'll issue you your student ID. This is why it's so important to have some form of photo ID with you when you come. Even if you're a home student, please bring your driver's license or a passport. If you're an international student, do bring your passport, please. Then, once that's done, you'll go to have your Nile account set up and collect a benefit laptop if that's applicable. Once your Nile account is set up, which is the Northampton Interactive Learning Environment, this is how you submit assignments and check your timetable and things. You'll then be directed over to halls if you're moving into halls. There's also going to be a marquee on the grass in front of the Senate building. It will be signposted on the day. Here, there's going to be several local food stands, which is going to be great, as well as other bits of useful information, such as discounted rail cards and Voi e-scooters and things like that. So do make sure you get down to the marquee whilst it's there. If you could have the next slide, please, Nikki. So you'll what do you need to bring with you for your face-to-face enrolment? Well, you'll need to have your student ID, your student ID number, sorry, that would be in an email that you would have received from us. As I've mentioned before, a photo ID, preferably a passport or a driver's license. If you're international, you have to bring your passport and your BRP card. It can also be a good idea to have any additional ID with you, such as bank cards or official letters, just in case we need extra layers of verification to get you through. Qualification certificates will also be necessary if you haven't already submitted these to admissions. Again, do make sure you haven't got any emails that you haven't replied to from them. Finally, your accommodation arrival information, as well as all of your contact info, will also be needed for enrolments. And it's a good idea to have emergency contacts and people like that in mind, which you'd have already submitted during your pre-enrollment, of course. But like Nikki says, if there's been any developments, do make sure you bring those details with you. Next slide, please, Nikki. So once we've checked your ID, you'll be given your student ID card, as well as your lanyard and car holder, this sort of thing here. You'll have to wear that at all times whilst you're on campus for security reasons. But there's also practical reasons as well, because it will let you through the barriers to access spaces in the campus, as well as the upper floors, which is where most of your classes will be. If you come on campus but you've forgotten your card, then please do go and visit the visitor section. Get a visitor card from the Senate reception. I beg your pardon. So if you forget your student ID card, you'll need to get a visitor card from the Senate reception. If there's any issues with your card or sanctions which can't be dealt with on the day, unfortunately, that means at the end of your enrolment, you'll be given a temporary ID, and then this will set a number of days for you to deal with the issues. So after that time limit has expired on the card, unfortunately, it won't work anymore. So it is important that you resolve any of those issues within those days. Once these have been resolved, you can pick up a new card from the student information desk. So after you've enrolled, you will be able to set up your university account. Within 48 hours, you'll be able to access your timetable. You'll also be able to access the online student hub and access the Northampton integrated learning environment. This will also include your personal tutor information. You will, of course, be able to use your student ID card to access all levels of the campus, as well as the library and its resources. Finally, you'll be able to get onto the campus Wi-Fi and IT services. You'll receive an email confirming that you are now fully enrolled, and this email will also contain a council tax certificate, if this is applicable for you, which is confirmation of your full-time study for tax purposes. Next slide, please, Nikki. So all new students are strongly encouraged to attend the Welcome and Induction Week, which starts on the 18th of September. You'll get to meet other students on your course, as well as your tutor group. The academic study expectations will also be explained to you, and you'll also learn a lot about working, living, and socializing on campus and becoming part of the University of Northampton's community. Finally, you'll also learn how to find your way around campus. You can find out when your session is taking place in your welcome pack, which you can download from the university website. The academic year starts on Monday, the 25th of September, so it's important that you get yourself enrolled as early as possible so you can access and familiarize yourself with all of these resources before your teaching starts. Next slide, please. So this is the new student webpage on the university website. You can see the welcome packs that I was just talking about, as well as the before you start checklist. This tells you everything you need to do, so you can be reassured that you've got everything done when you come to your enrolment. You'll also see enrolment information, which includes the booking and arrival form, where you book your face-to-face enrolment slot, as well as pre-enrollment information, such as the pre-enrollment guide. There's also the details of the welcome and induction week. You'll also find plenty of information for international students, such as enrolment information, things to do before you start, immigration information, orientation programs, and a lot more. There's also the Stepping into University webpage, which has important information guiding you through the transition into higher education and what to expect as we get closer to the start of the academic year. Finally, at the very bottom of the page, if you scroll right down, you'll see a number of useful links such as distance learning, accessing your timetable, financial support, IT, registering to vote whilst a student, as well as all of your terms and conditions. So thanks very much. That's the end of the slides. We'll now like to open up to questions.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, we've got a few that's come through. Okay, so the first one, so we're getting a lot of questions just wanting clarification of what type of certificates and documents are we supposed to bring to enrolment. And we've also got another one about my passport and citizen ID card has expired. You know, what proof can I bring instead?
So if we just take those two separately, so the certificates that you need to provide, you would have been asked by admissions for specific qualifications. If you have just taken your A-levels, you've just done we won't need to see those certificates. You might not even have them yet because UCAS will have provided us with that verification. But if you took your qualifications before this immediate year, you may have been asked by admissions to provide them, but do check any emails that you have from them because they will be the people that will specifically ask them. If you have been asked for them, there will be an email requesting those.
And Nikki, sorry, I've just, there's one other question. There's somebody asking, should I carry my original academic certificates of photocopies only?
I think you need to double check with admissions because they will be the people that will need to. Some of those we can accept copies, and others we do need to see the originals. If you go onto our pages for the before you start checklist that Billy talked about, so that's new students and just put before you start checklist, on there is a link which then gives you a page specifically around qualifications. So do check that page and it will tell you which ones we definitely need to see, which ones need to be originals, but it very much depends on the course that you're studying for.
Lovely. So then the other one was about if passport and citizen's ID have expired.
If your passport has, I assume if you're not using your passport to travel into the country, so if you're a home student perhaps and you've got a passport that has expired recently, do bring that because that is a valid government official document that has been approved. We can look at that and we perhaps may ask you for a current bank card, which serves as a sort of verification of your particular information. But we can use an expired passport in that respect to check your details.
Thank you. If we're staying at Scholars Green, do we complete face-to-face enrolment there or at Waterside campus?
So no, I don't know, Billy, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So you do complete your enrolment on campus, and then afterwards, after you've fully enrolled, a lot of students moving into halls will be going over to see accommodation which is a signposted area on either part of campus. If you're on Scholars Green, however, once you've completed your enrolment at the Waterside campus, do just head straight for Scholars Green. You can pick up your keys once you're there. So you don't need to see accommodation at the Waterside campus if you're in Scholars Green. You can go straight to the halls and collect your keys there.
But you must enrol first. It's
Yes,
really
you have
important.
to. You still have to enrol first at the Waterside campus.
Lovely. Somebody asking, do I need to attend a face-to-face enrolment session if I am studying with a partner program like the NHS?
So again, you will have been written to about a face-to-face enrolment session. If it's a local NHS partner, it's very likely that you will be invited to come in for your face-to-face enrolment. If it's another kind of partner, so it might be a London-based partner, then it's likely that that partner will be dealing with your face-to-face enrolment.
Thank you.
So if in doubt, you can always email that enrolment at northampton.ac.uk inbox, and we will double check with admissions about what you have been advised.
Cool, thank you. If you're a part-time student, do you enrol also?
Yes, part-time or full-time, everyone will be expecting to come in for their face-to-face enrolment.
And how long a face-to-face likely to take?
So the actual process, again, if you have pre-enrolled beforehand, we would say give yourself up to an hour to enrol. Sometimes it is busier than others. The start and the end of the day tend to be quieter times. So if you're thinking about trying to get through as quickly as possible, then to come half an hour before the end of the session or the first part of the when we open the sessions, they tend to be the quieter times. But yes, I would estimate around an hour.
Cool. And can we bring friends or family to the face-to-face?
Yes.
Particularly over Welcome Weekend, we strongly encourage people to bring friends and family. We have a number of activities around. We've got, as Billy said, there's the marquee with a food court. It's a chance to see the campus if you haven't seen it before. But we will be asking only the students, in most cases, to go through the enrolment process. If you do require additional help, or and you've spoken to our assist team, or we can assist you with an adult in particular circumstances, then obviously we will accommodate that. But normally we would expect students to be the only ones going through the enrolment process, just because we can't accommodate all of the family to come through the enrolment process.
Cool. Getting quite a few about the laptops. So asking, where do we get the laptops, and do we get to collect the laptops on the same day as the face-to-face enrolment?
So hand that one to Billy. Do you want to take that one, Billy?
Yes. So collecting your laptop will be one of the last things you do along the enrolment route. So you'll be after you've reset your password. If you've opted into one, there's a number of benefits which you can choose from if you're a home student, if you're applicable, and the benefit. One of the benefits is a laptop. So once you've come and enrolled, you'll be directed round to reset your password, and then after that, if you've opted in, you'll be going away from enrolment with your laptop if that's what you've opted for.
Great. So now a couple about ID cards and halls. So will our ID card let us into halls?
Shall I take that one?
Yes.
So for Scholars Green, you're given a proper key, which is a key to your room. For our other Waterside campus accommodation, your student card will be processed, and the actual key will sit on your card. So we will process the card through an electronic process that will then put that key onto your card.
And another one here, can you go straight to the halls area if you have a face-to-face enrolled on that day? before?
You have to
if
go
you've
to
enrolled.
accommodation. If you've enrolled, you have to go to see the accommodation team. If you're in the Waterside campus halls, Billy explained that Scholars Green don't need to go and see the accommodation team, but every other student needs to go and see the accommodation to have their key card set up, so that your student card actually is activated for the room that is allocated to your card. So yes, it's really important. Otherwise, you'll get to the front door of your flat, even if you know the number, and won't be able to get in.
Now, so another one here. How long after face-to-face enrolment will we receive our timetables and such?
So it's up to 48 hours that you'll be able to view your timetable on Nile. Sometimes it's quicker, but we say allow up to 48 hours before you contact IT to let them know that you can't access it.
There are course timetables that you can view, sort of generic course timetables. So again, if you type in our search engine timetables, it will take you to the page and you can work your way through selecting your course, and it will give you the modules and where they're running for semester 1. So if you do want to know about that sooner, what it won't give you is obviously your personal seminar groups that you might be attending, but it will give you some idea of when some of the sessions are going to be running, some of the modules and the sessions that will be running.
Right, another one here. So how do you check the details of your face-to-face booking? I think what they're meaning is once you've kind of entered all the details in and booked it, is there any way of checking what you've submitted?
Yeah, you should receive a confirmation email after you've booked it, confirming all your details for you. So yeah, do keep a lookout for your for that email after you've made your booking.
Okay. Oh, somebody else. Does a UK student have to show a visa?
No.
No,
Not
if you're a
unless
UK.
they've got an international, if there's any reason why they are on a visa. So visas are quite complicated, but not a home student wouldn't normally be on a visa.
We've got another question here. So when is the last day of face-to-face enrolment for international students?
So the last day for enrolling is Wednesday, the 11th of October. That's the very, very last day to enrol. We are encouraging students to come way before that. So the bookings at the moment are for the on-time enrolment sessions. So when you go on to book your face-to-face enrolment, you'll see the sessions between the 13th and the 18th of September. Please do try and book on one of those, but we will have some later enrolment mop-up sessions that we will release as we go through September. So if anyone is delayed for any reason, they will have an opportunity at a later stage to enroll, but we do encourage you not to miss any of your sessions. So that's why we've put on time and early enrolment sessions to make sure you're really all sorted before your lessons start and you don't miss any teaching. The regulations state that all students should be enrolled by that week 3, end of week 3. So that's why we run the session the 11th of October, which is in week 3.
Brilliant, thank you. Got another question here. Do 3-month exchange students need to register something like normal students, as the official website says go to the police station to register?
The police registration is something separate, which students who come from overseas do have to do as well. If in doubt, do message our international student support team, who'll be able to give you more information about that. But it's really important that you do come, and if you're a student of the university, that you undertake pre-enrollment and face-to-face enrollment too. They're separate processes from the police registration.
Cool, thank you. Can we park at Waterside for face-to-face?
So, Billy, do you want to take this about the car parking?
Yeah, you can park in car park 4, but there's also the that will fill up quite quickly. But there's also the park and ride available, which will perhaps be a little bit more convenient. Details of that can be found on the website.
There's also parking charges are different, aren't they? So over the weekend, that's the 16th and 17th that we call welcome weekend. Parking is free. That's correct, isn't it, Billy?
Yeah, that's right.
But parking charges will resume before or after that weekend, and they are also in place before that weekend.
And somebody's asking, can I come at any point during the day for face-to-face, or does it need to be just before?
Yeah, so you'll be able to book a specific enrollment slot. So depending on when you come, it will be a half hour or an hour long slot. And once you have that booked, that is the time that you need to come, please, on the day and the time that you have booked, if possible. Thank you.
Hi, I can't find on the website when the National Award in SEN Coordination Postgrad Face-to-Face Enrolment is. There is a launch day on the 18th of November. Is this the same?
Yes. Yeah. So we haven't advertised at the moment. That is exactly right. 18th of November. It will be held on our Waterside campus. Enrolment is part of the induction day. So we ensure that you have enrolment, but also there are sessions there to start your course. So it's important that you can attend that if possible. That's when the launch will really start the course.
Lovely, thank you. Will there be a chance to talk to the assist team during enrolment?
Do you want to take that, Billy?
Yes, certainly. So the assist team will be one of the first people you'll pass along the enrolment route. So as soon as you get into the building, you're going to walk through 2 sets of electric doors, and assist will be there on the right, and they'll be distributing literature, but also chatting to people, assisting students who need help, and they'll be more than happy to speak to you if needs be. If you do need any sort of special consideration on the day, though, do let us know ahead of time. Email assist or the enrolment inbox, and we're always really happy to accommodate things like that.
Somebody's actually asking, where do I keep my luggage during face-to-face?
So your luggage can be stored at the multi-faith chaplaincy, so which will be opposite the learning hub, which is part of the sort of group of buildings which are the halls of residence. It will be signposted on the day, and there will be a welcome team and members of staff who can direct you towards it. But yes, it's the multi-faith chaplaincy is where you can leave your luggage.
Great. Sorry, we're pinging around quite a lot with these questions,
Sure.
but I'm frantically going through to make sure that we cover everything. So is it possible to bring my own laptop?
Yes, students can provide their own device. Not all students are eligible for a laptop benefit, so absolutely you can bring your own device. We have an IT help desk, so if there are any questions around setting that laptop up to access the Wi-Fi, etc., then they will be on hand to really help you with any technical questions. But yes, absolutely fine to bring your own device.
Right.
It also might be worth mentioning that even if you're not eligible for a benefit laptop, there are still laptops here available which you can borrow and use in the library. You can book them out. It just means you can't take them home, unfortunately.
I've got one here, but do I need to bring proof of my student finance, or am I able to be seen on the day of enrolment through the system, or is it?
We would strongly encourage you to have it with you just in case that you need to see finance. If you do need to see finance, that documentation is really helpful. If you don't need to see finance, we won't be asking you for it. But without looking at every individual student, I think my advice would be to bring it with you, keep it safe with you as you come through the enrolment process. And people at the front desk who register you, who welcome you, will know whether you need to see finance or not. But I would recommend that you do bring that with you just in case.
Thank you. We've got one here that's not strictly, but I think it might be worth answering. So I'm an international student. I have a question. If I miss any initial classes due to visa processing, can I take classes online? Is there any other options?
Teaching is now fully back to face-to-face teaching. We don't run extra sessions online particularly, but if you are expecting to be late, the best thing to do is to look on your welcome pack, find your program leader, email that program leader if you can, and just explain that you've been delayed due to visas and ask them exactly what you should be doing with the time that you have so that you're not too far behind. Hopefully they will get back to you and give you some useful information about what you should start getting up to speed on, and you'll be able to, as I say, link with those academic colleagues and be able to hopefully use the time effectively before you enrol. But you do need to be here, as I said, particularly by week 3, because we are strict about when we complete enrolment, and it's important that students don't miss too much.
Great, thank you. Just scrolling through the last few. Do we get a student email?
Yes.
Yes.
So this year we are promoting the university email for all students. That is auto-generated when a student goes from the application side of our system into the enrolment side. We will be telling you about that email address when you come and see us at face-to-face enrolment, and making sure that you can see that on screen and know exactly what it is. That's the reason why we've decided to campaign and to bring in a project that's looking at making sure all students use their my.northampton.ac.uk account, is to help us with cybersecurity and to ensure that all correspondence relating to your course is held in one place.
Cool. So somebody asking here, what counts as accommodation arrival information? Does a proof via email count?
Yes, if you've had some correspondence via email, that's absolutely fine.
Great. So I'm just looking at the last few. No, I think that's probably it. It looks like we have had an awful lot of questions, so thank you everybody that's submitted. It looks like a lot of these we have definitely covered with other people's questions. So I think it's about time to wrap up and say goodbye.
Okay, thank you for coming on to the session today, and we look forward to seeing you at face-to-face enrolment very soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.